morning out there. Thank you for joining us on ECWA TV Africa on the program from the Dailies, where we bring you reviews of what the dailies are saying. And today is 9th of November 2021. And to do this with me is Joyce Iakari.
Good morning, Sambo.
Morning, I am Sambo Solomon. What do we have on the paper today?
On the Daily Sun, I shall be taking that first. We have the big stories that says Paris Club deductions, governors furious with Malami. And the writer says, accuse AGF of working against Nigerians' interests, looted assets. We've recorded appreciable milestone, says Justice Minister. Then on other stories, Anambra INEC holds supplementary election in Iyela today. I've not made comments on Anambra election, and that is coming from Umahi. Then we have another story which says collapsed building, Lagos Assembly seeks compensation. And then we have 2.1 billion naira court jails Maina 8 years, and that story can be found on page 4 of the Daily Sun paper. Obasanjo Sultan orders raise the alarm over failing education, page 26 of the Daily Sun paper. Nigeria facing new dimension of threat, defense minister, and that is on page 6 of Daily Sun. This big story here is worth to be mentioned and to be discussed, but I'll allow that so that we can discuss it later when we review more papers, because I know it will repeat itself.
Yeah, I have the Punch with me, and it says governors attack Malami over 418 million US dollars consultants fee, says AGF lied. That you can find on page 2, and it has the writer that says he suggests a special relationship between AGF office consultant and then state resources needed for critical development should not be frittered away. This is just the issue between the governors forum and then Malami. They have their own disagreement on some certain deduction concerning the state. Is it money that has to do with loan given to the state? The federal government wants to do their deduction, and the state are saying no, this is not the time. So that we hope that very soon they will find an understanding between the two of them. And I have this that says uncertainty hangs over new PDP leadership as secondus approach Supreme Court. That you can find on page 2. Cooking gas price jumps by 240%. Marketers halt import. That you can find on page 19. Then you have this one that said Ikoyi collapsed building. Subscribers signed over 500 US dollars contract each. Then 40-year-old Ogun butcher arrested over lover's death after sex. Kwara ban from UBEC fund over 1 billion looting by ex-governor. That you can find on page 9. And then we have the story that says Air Force officer arrested over deadly attack on NDA.
There are so many stories of interest today on the paper.
Yes.
We have the arrest of the soldier. We have the Malamis and the Nigerian Governors Forum. And we have so many issues, even the hike in gas prices, and we have just so many issues. But just like I said, we'll discuss them even as they come. So I would like to take the Nigerian Tribune. On the Nigerian Tribune, we have attack on NDA, Air Force arrests sergeant. Then deducting $480 million US Paris Club refund from Federation account unlawful. And this is coming from the Nigerian Governors Forum. And this story can be found on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And the writer says, alleges 186.547 million US dollars and 19.439 billion naira wrongly paid in 2016-2018 to contractors. Then Anambra Gobo election not yet over. I can still win. And this is coming from Ozigbo. And we didn't call for cancellation of poll APC. Okay, they are going against that. And Ihiala election to hold 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. today, and this is coming from INEC. This story can be found on page 23 of Nigerian Tribune. Court sentences minor to 8 years imprisonment for 2.1 billion naira fraud, and that story is found on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Then other stories, Nigeria facing new dimension of threat, and this is coming from Defense Minister. Imo Assembly Speaker removed, page 22 of Nigerian Tribune. Federal University Lokoja engages 60 hunters to beef up security. And there is a special report which says Nigeria losing billions of naira as uncleared cargoes filled up seaports. Nimasa DG receives ZIG award. Niger to borrow 100.4 billion naira to finance 2022 budget. Ikoyi expert canvas integrity test for 2 remaining buildings. And bereaved families besiege hospital for DNA test. Lagos Assembly wants compensation for victims' family. This story found on page 27 of Nigerian Tribune. Like I said, we have so many of these stories, and I forgot to mention the court sentence too of minor. Some other papers are reporting 8 years, some are reporting 61 years. So which one is it exactly? But I know that as the story unfolds, we'll know what exactly the sentence will be and how it will be, because reading on comments from Nigeria, some of them are saying, we just know that this thing is audio, like it will really be done. And if someone can steal this money that we're talking about, this pension is for the pensioners, and they were not able to, you know, some of them even died without receiving their pensions. It's so painful. Yes, it's painful if you look at it at the human angle. It's really painful. And people are saying, okay, if they're giving this sentence, we know the Nigerian system, at the end of the day, he might not even see the gate of the prison or the jail. He might not even go through the sentence. And if it is 8 years, isn't that worth it? Like, you can steal these billions of naira and you just be in the prison for just 8 years. And if it is 61 years, like how we really want everything to be clearly stated. The processes, I want to see the end of it. Not that, okay, now maybe he's been arrested and the sentence is being passed to him, then we don't hear anything about it anymore. No, Nigerians are tired of that type of system. They want to see, based on the comments, they want to see how everything will be followed through. And okay, then there is this case of the deduction of the 480 million Paris Club refund. We want to see from the beginning to the end, because this is an issue, like you said, this is an issue between the AGF and the NGF. But I beg to disagree a bit, because this is actually an issue of the AGF, NGF, and even the citizens of Nigeria. Want to know how these monies are spent. If it was a loan given to us, and maybe there's still litigation on it, that means, okay, it's yes to be settled in court or whatsoever. There are so many controversies on it. Then you are now saying, okay, you want to deduct monies from the 36 states government account to pay it off. And there is this haste they are putting in it. Then there is a question mark on it. So really you want to see how everything will be pulled through at the end of the day.
And you see the issue of, to add to what you said, you know, the issue of this Paris Club refund, whatever, however they target. I ask, okay, do these states receive those money? If it's yes, okay, how much per state? And it's for what? Is it that they gave them that money just to pay salary or for a capital project? What is it for? Even if governors are saying no, that should not be done. We know that the governors collected money once upon a time. I think it is good now to even check those governors that collect those money. What have they done with those money? And let's check whatever they claim they have done with those monies. Let's see it on ground. Let them check them too. Let them check them. I feel if we start to go this way, I think we'll really.
And like I said, it was more like a loan, to service maybe some things in Nigeria, in the Nigerian system. And now if we're paying off, at least there should be a due process, a follow-up. And I would like to read from what the news carried. The role between governors and Attorney General of Federation, that's AGF, and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami San, over the 480 million Paris Club refund debts deepened yesterday. The governors under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum, that's the NGF, accused Malami of bias in handling of the disputed amount allegedly owned private contractors and firms by the 36 states and 774 local governments. The consultants were mandated by the federal government to negotiate the Paris Club refund with creditors nations. And according to the governors, these contractors are impecunious and cannot restitute the state's local government if the appeal or other litigation are determined against them, just like I said. NGF added, we call on the general public to be alert and vigilant. The debt relief granted to Nigeria by the Paris Club in 2005 was meant to enable her to have a respite and use the resources saved for meaningful development. Now we understand. It was not for distribution to private persons to fund their luxurious lives. Neither can Nigeria justify her borrowing funds all over the world to fund capital projects and turn round to disburse state resources to individuals in a manner that offends all public sensibilities. We urge all those appointed as gatekeepers to our laws to ensure that the law of our land are respected and protected. Let professionalism, reasonable caution, and due diligence prevail on this matter. It's a serious matter, and there is the AGF's claim too. And just so many of the issues are there. But I believe that when we get out, we get our hands on these papers, we can read further to really understand what is happening and to really understand, to be informed, to be informed of what's happening and what it means to you as a citizen of Nigeria. Because we always talk about information, we always talk about being educated on things that are happening. You shouldn't just sit on the maybe fence and be like, okay, this is not something that concerns you. No, it is. It's about money. It's about the economy of Nigeria. Because the governors still are claiming that if these monies are being deducted from these accounts, then they won't be able to pay salaries in their state. You see, that's like a backward kind of process.
It is quite unfortunate at this era you're hearing, governors saying, because they are expecting one money or one particular money or amount supposed to be deducted, that would make them not to pay salary. And you see, they will parade issue of salary, payment of salary as if it's an achievement.
And that deduction would not even affect some people in higher position. But well, let's move on.
Let's see how it goes. We'll follow it.
All right, I think that's all for the Nigerian Tribune. If you take the next paper.
Okay, I have the Guardian with me, and it has this big story that says candidates upbeat as INEC concludes Anambra Goba. And it has the rider that says, I can still win this election, says PDP's Ozimbo. APC refutes plan to drag Soludo INEC to court. INEC adjusts voting time. Voting time rerun holds 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is today. And then APC woes self-inflicted, says Wosu. Yaga Africa demands audit of BVAS to prevent delay. Voters disenfranchisement, and then some collations officer not good at mathematics, says INEC director. Oh, wow, that's serious. And then you have this one that say Abdul Rashid Maina guilty as charged. That story you can find on page 3 of the Guardian. You have this, let me take this too. Air Force arrest officer in connection with bandit attack on NDA. That story is on page 2. Boko Haram attack military base in Borno.
Wow. Wow, that's another sad story.
We're still hearing attack Boko Haram still. So you wonder, which one are we going to deal with? Is it the Boko Haram? Is it the bandit? Even though the common Nigerians see them as one.
Yes, they are one. And did you say military base?
Yes, military base in Borno.
Wow. Well, I encourage people to get this paper to read more, to know what is happening in your nation. There are some reports that don't really make it to the papers, and there are some that make it to the papers, but in everything, get information so that you know where you stand, even as a citizen of Nigeria, and you know how you can, empower yourself to be in position to change some things that are happening in your country that you are not happy with. Well, I would like to move on to this day paper. On this day paper, we have the same big story: Paris club refund, Malami's action against public morality interest, says governors. And their riders allege special relationship exists between AGF consultants above Nigerians' interests. Say payment authorized proceeded with unprecedented speed, not common in public service. Then another story, we have all eyes on Ihiela as INEC concludes Anambra governorship election, and the riders adjust voting timeline for supplementary poll. APC allege rigging to contest results in Supreme Court, and state governors assures Ihiela people of security as billionaires, sons, daughters, mobilize indigenes in diaspora. Then we have Clean Foundation 6, improvement in BVAS technology. You can start reading that story on the first page and continue on page 10. Then ECWA sustains measures against Guinea, sanctions Mali, and that story can be found on page 8. And that story too made it to our midday international news desk news yesterday, so you can read further as it is coming up on the paper. CBN caps loan at 5 billion naira in new 100 for 100 policy. Then money laundering, ex-pension tax team boss, Maina gets 8 years jail term. And that story can be found on page 16 of this day paper.
Okay, I have the Daily Times with me, and it has this on the front page, so bold, and it said 418 million US dollars Paris Club payment. Malami working against public interest, says the Nigerian Governors Forum. And that is just the one I will take for the Daily Times.
Okay, moving on, I would like to take Daily Trust. And on Daily Trust, we have the first story: petrol price, Nimasa, NPA flouting presidential directive. And this is coming from the marketers. Then we have IGR, Lagos leads as FCT beats Rivers, Kano, 33 others. And that is on Daily Trust. Then we have pension scam. Pensioners cheer as minor bags 61 years imprisonment. Act sordid, immoral, dirty. And this is coming from the judge. Lampoons banks for aiding abetting. Orders convicts to refund 2.4 billion naira forfeit to houses. And that story can be found on the Daily Trust paper for today, 9th November. Then federal government in fresh battle over 172 billion naira Paris Club deductions. And that is what we just discussed now. And we encourage people to get the paper so that they can read further. I think we should talk more on this miner's case. Yes, he has been sentenced to 61 years imprisonment. That is his sentence, but with the follow-up and everything is to spend 8 years in prison. And delivering the judgment yesterday, that's on Monday, 8th November, Okon Abang, that's the trial judge, which held that miners stole over 2 billion belonging to pensioners, and most of them, as captured, died without reaping the fruit of their labor. I think that was what broke my heart the most when I read the story. And it's so sad, you know, this money belongs to certain people. They've worked, they've toiled for like, what's the service here, 35 years, you know, and now they're retired and they're expected to be getting something at the end of the day, because that's part of their, you know, agreement with the government that yes, at the end of the day, this is what you are going to do, putting in your service. And then one person will just, you know, that's what we've been talking about even on today's life. One person will just wake up one day and embezzle the money or take it all by himself. This is not a judgment passed to him. You know, this is not a judgment, but it's just more of a morality or a human angle kind of thinking, that before you do something, you have to think about a lot of people. These people died in the process without even repeating it. There are some people that are still alive, but they're so aged that they can't even line up. You know how it is that you have to line up. You see, it's so sad though.
It is. But this is what Nigerians want to see. You can see how even pensioners were celebrating, were jubilating. You know, at least you will know that Nigerians really want good for this country. You know, for other countries, just for this act, the country can just be upside down. Yes, because this people, you know, they have their children, they have their grandchildren, the ones that they can react. They can react because they feel, okay, my father or my mother have worked for the country for 35 years in active service, now they retire. And then, Joyce, you ask, that pension, how much it is that they normally give them weekly, if not for the review, you know, of how the pension system will be, that when it became contributory, that you can even put more than what your employee is putting. Yes. Then at the end of it, you get a reasonable amount that when you are being paid monthly, you will see something reasonable. But how much it is? And then one person, just one person. And like I said, if you look at this thing, someone cannot just, in an organized setting, take up to 100,000 without someone knowing. So I feel there is more to that. It's not just minor. They should go and dig deep. There are some people that are part of that. Then them too, they should be punished. By so doing, definitely we cannot say we'll curtail everything, but it will be cut down to a barest
It's so sad, and we always talk about having a better Nigeria, and it's just that in all the sectors, the people there are so corrupt that when you even start thinking of change, you're already weak in your mind. Like, where do you start from? How people can be corrupt? And you know, corruption doesn't necessarily have to do with even funds. It has to do with so many other things. And I would like to take this moment to encourage people to tune in to today's Life Today by 11, where we'll be talking about corruption and so many of these EO vices on the show. And remember, this is just a refresher. He was arraigned in 2019 by the EFCC, and which he pleaded not guilty for the 2 billion naira, 12 counts of charge of money laundering to the tune of 2 billion naira. So he has been in court on and off, you know, the hearing and all. But now he has been charged, and like I said, he's to spend his sentence is 61 years, but he will spend only 8 years in prison, as the sentences are stipulated to run concurrently by Justice Okon Abang. So that's the minor story. If you have interest, you can call us later on the show so that we can discuss more.
Yeah, so I'll just speak it from here. We'll just go for a short break. When we return, our phone line will be open. Then you can call and then give your own input. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. And our phone line is open. You can do well to call us. Once you call, please move away from your TV set or reduce the volume of your radio so that we can hear you, and then we can talk to each other and we hear each other clearly. And then for the benefit of those that are watching, can also get what we are discussing. I want to take this, Joyce. The Nation newspaper. It has this that is still the issue of Malami. It's just repeating itself. You know, it says governors Malami's role in Paris Club reform suspect. I will put my interest on this and see how this will come to an end. And I hope that even the governors will do the right thing and follow it up, because we really want to see how even states will enjoy their funds. You know.
Okay, we have a caller, Mordecai from Kaduna. You're welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, well, it's about the issue of this man. Well, it is very unfortunate that when this president has come on board, he said it's for everybody, it's not for everybody. And it is clear, I see that it's for some people, it's not for some people. When the issue of this design come up, I believe that the federal government has to contribute all the properties of Diani. Now, the issue of this man, what happened to what he used to do for some billion to do? You know all his property, and if you just keep it for some days and you come back to the property, it's not a justice. And apart from that, there are other cases among the present people who are, which we know them to be doing on this, and but yet they are there. And so I doubt much if this administration is even fighting corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. We really appreciate. He is of the opinion. He's talking about the miners case where he's been convicted, sentenced to jail for 8 years, and what will happen to his property. He made mention of the instance of Allison that was her properties were taken away from her, and we still have in the news where more properties were taken or are being taken. The other day it was announced that her jewelries and more other things, you know, are being put out there. Is it for sale or for something? You should know that yes, it has been retrieved from her. So it's like every day of every month, every day, there's a case that will come up about her and more of her properties being retrieved. But in news, it's just said that 2 of the houses, he's to forfeit 2 houses. And that's all we're hearing. That's what I was talking about. Nigerians really want to know the follow-up of everything. Yes, from the beginning to the end, we'll wait till that. After 8 years, what will happen? I want to see in the news that, yes, there are so many things that are being retrieved. Not that, yes, you steal public funds, then do your term, come out and still ball with the money. I'm sorry to use the word ball, but at least that is what we see every day. The other day we read in the news that Magu is still receiving half of his salary after 16 months. What what is really happening? Is it okay? Please.
What is really happening? You know, the papers today are, the news are really, really, like you said earlier, news of public interest, because this is the cry of Nigerians. Nigerians have been asking so much of this question that you are asking on their behalf. This is what the common Nigerian is saying. You know, you hear the issue of looting, theft, you know, from public office holders, and then at the end of it, you know, they serve, or they just prolong the court case until you as a citizen even forget that there was something like that. And at the end of it, it's the same money that you will see them using it, you know, and the society is just watching. It's really, really quite unfortunate. And we are praying for Nigeria. Nigeria will rise again. Nigeria will be on her feet once we decide to do the right thing. And I believe the government is taking the right step by doing the right thing. But at the end of it, when you hear this houses, whatever property being confiscated by the federal government, then you ask, who is it going to buy it? Is the person buying it has a legit business, a legit money that is buying, or they just auction it to themselves? Because you find out a house of 2 billion, they will just sell it for 1.5 million, and somebody will just buy it, and he's
how
okay.
accessible is it for the general public?
That is it. That is it. And we pray that everything will take shape in Nigeria. Minor jail 8 years for 2 billion naira pension theft, and then to forfeit 2.1 billion on houses. And then 5G network is not hazardous, says NCC, that you can find on page 7. Anambra, Soludo, Oxibo, Uba, others battle for a healer, that you can find on page 3. That is all I have for the nation. Joyce.
Okay, moving on to News Direct, we have 450 million US dollars Paris Club. Governor Slam Malami says AGF working against Nigerians' interest. Then cybercrime, NCC reports new malware, abstract email attacking Android devices. That is on page 2 of News Direct. This is for the people that are tech and that have interest in tech, then even the Android users too. Carry has transformed NNPC, and this is coming from PPRAC. Then Fidelity Bank MD tax employees on ethics integrity. National Treasury Workshop, OAGF, to discuss COVID-19 impact on global economy, Nigerian Treasury. Inconclusive Anambra poll, INEC begins supplementary election in Iyela local government today. Rising cost of cooking gas, now GAM charges silver for urgent intervention. 2.3 billion naira fraud, Mayana bags 8 years imprisonment after attempt to abscond fail. That's page 21 of News Direct paper, and that's all for the story.
Okay, I have Business Day with me, and I will just take one story, and that which is the boldest on the front page. It said banks private sector credit up 32.81% in 3 years. Joyce.
Okay, moving on, and you just took the Business Day.
Yes.
I would like to take the Daily Independent, and on the Daily Independent we have FG moves to prop Jonathan's government over P&ID contract. Says contract capable of undermining national economy. Then we have the Paris Club refund again. Governors accuse AGF of siding consultants against Nigeria. Current security challenges, threats to food security, and this is coming from the defense minister. Then we have Anambra Goba. INEC adjusts supplementary election time for Iyela. It's not over yet, says Ozibu, PDP candidate. Page 6 of Daily Independent. NNPC assures on availability of petrol, cautions against panic buying, and that is on page 7. Imo Assembly impeaches Speaker, swears in eBay as replacement. Page 7 of Daily Independent. Court jails ex-pension boss Abdulrashid Maina for 8 years. Plot to extend APC caretaker committee tenure thickens, and this is the rider convention may not hold in December 2023, and Ohio Bunwa declares for president. Ohio Bunwa declares for president. I hope I got that name correctly. And that is on page 29 of Daily Independent. IPOB, roads, streets, markets still deserted in Imo State. And that is all for Daily Independent. I would like us to just discuss briefly on the NNPP's assurance on availability of petrol, and they are cautioning panic buying. Do you think Nigerians will follow through, or Nigerians will still go and buy ahead of time? Because we all know how the festive period can be, you know, even without the scarcity. We like to buy ahead of time. We like to, because we don't like surprises. We don't want to wake up one day and say, okay, the market has on strike, or there is scarcity, or there are long queues at the fueling stations. So do you think Nigerians will go with this advice, or they will still go out and buy with the panic in quotes?
Nigerians, like you do, Nigerians will always go out there to buy, even though I know with the sensitization that will reduce, but it won't stop it totally. You know, we always don't want surprises, and then time without number, the government will tell you this, and then they do the other thing. So Nigerians always are being fixed. Okay, they are saying this, how true it is. Okay, if it's true, fine, but let me just do this.
And you know, I'm of the opinion that still Nigerians will go and buy it. They will buy and even keep for the times that maybe for the rainy days, because they don't know what will come later. Is even more like buying foodstuff now, because you don't know how the marketers or the sellers will later try to exploit you know, people, or hike the price just because it's the festive period. And Nigerians, I know, are tired of getting advice from the government or agencies, because they feel, okay, they've been taking care of themselves all this while. I think I even live better. I know where it hurts when I wear the shoe. So you should advise me. I think I'm the one living the real life, the experiences. So it's up to them. But well, if they are saying there will be availability, they should keep to their words. There should be availability, because this is a festive period. People will be traveling. People will need all these things for one thing or the other to make life a bit easy on them. You know, people want to know that, okay, they have fuel, fuel in their cars, in their machines, in whatsoever, even in their generators, so that at least the festive period is more of the holiday period where people will be at home, you know, or on the road traveling. So we'll hold on to the NNPC's advice, but well, I know my fellow citizens.
But I personally, I will applaud the NNPC, but for this few years, at least you can see that consistency, even in their promises, you know, when they said, please, people should not panic, you know, it's just that there's a misunderstanding here and there, just like the earlier rumor that the depot owners skyrocket the price, and then before you know it, then people started buying, and then even the filling stations that already have fuel, they now just for suddenly, you know,
some were hoarding it, some were increasing prices already.
Yeah, so you can see the mentality of Nigerians. You start asking why Why? Why
Exploitation
can't we
and all.
just be patriotic for
And you know,
just
that's what we're talking about, corruption.
Yes.
Just like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to do with funds.
Fund,
It has to
yes.
do with all these things, hoarding of resources, which you know is needed, and selling your old stock in the new stock price is wrong. It's wicked. It's corruption.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, you are not corrupt. You're not in this position of power. You don't embezzle 2 billion naira, just like the case of mine now, or you don't do one or two things. How do you sell your mudu of rice? And what measure do you use? Ask yourself.
Yeah. Moving forward, let's take first news. First news have this to say Anambra APC may boycott a Hela supplementary pool. And it has a rider that says, as party alleges rigging in main election, you are bad losers. ABGA orders reply. And you have this resident flee Akwa Ibom communities as flooding persists. And then you have this that say Nasarawa government brings novelty, appoint overseers for 18 new local government councils. And then Minister Pantami's professorship in order, says ASU. You have this Nnamdi Kanu Ohaneze youth applaud Southeast governors intervention. Former Kano Emir Sanusi relocate to London, enrolled for PhD in law. Drama as EFCC moves to re-arrest Maina after 80 years jail slammer. Anti-graft enforcers, prison officials fight over his custody in court premises. Suspected military accomplice in terror attack on NDA arrested. And then the last one, Yahoo boy driver kills 2 in Ondo, injure others. That's
okay.
all for
When
news.
you're reading the stories, I actually smiled when you said former Kanu Emir Sanusi. And I remember one case that he warned someone not to call him the former emir because an emir is always an emir, a king is always a king. You don't refer to him as former. And there was a comment he made, I can't really remember, but the person that called him the former became the former of the position he was holding then. So I will go to blueprint. That was just by the side, to relieve people. So on the blueprint, we have CBN penalizes 2% firm for trading crypto. And this is on page 22 of blueprint. Governors tackle Malami over planned $418 million Paris Club refund deduction. Seek justice, accountability on settlement of consultants. Scarcity, Ipman rules out petrol price hike. And that story can be found on page 9 of the blueprint. Then FG to use 1.1 billion naira to probe 10 billion US dollars and P and ID contract scam. I'll take it again. FG to use 1.1 billion naira to probe 10 billion US dollars P and ID contract scam. Senate raises concerns over rising judgment debt. And that story can be found on page 6 of the blueprint paper. 2 billion naira pension fraud, minor to spend 8 years in jail, and this coming from the courts. The story can be found on page 5 of blueprint. XPRTT chair purchase 1.4 US dollars property without passing through bank. 15 killed in Niger, Bauchi auto. Is in Niger. 15 killed in Niger, Bauchi auto crashes. 15 injured. Man commits suicide in Oshun over indebtedness. Air Force officer arrested over NDA Kaduna attack. What expert customer says on First Bank new corporate website. All these stories are on the blueprint paper. You can get one and read more. Would you like to talk about the Air Force officer who was arrested over the Kaduna NDA attack, or just briefly?
Yeah, kudos to our military guys there. Several times here on the station, we applaud them for the good work that they have been doing for the nation. You know, standing with their head high, you know, protecting the integrity of the nation. You know, the number of casualty of our military, you know, it can't be mentioned, but they are still strong and still doing what they are trained to do to protect the integrity of this nation. And I feel by doing so, even for those that die in active service, I think the military should keep their head high and do what is needful, so that even those that are dead, they can lie peacefully, knowing that those that are alive are really following up to those that caused them or their family. You can name it. So you can see this one is coming inward. Is a personnel sergeant, for that matter. You know, we are looking forward to see, because once military starts investigating something, one good thing about them, they take it to the final conclusion. They don't delay, and then you see the result. We are hoping that more revelation will come and more intelligence will be gathered, even as those that are involved in this particular one and other ones that they are still working on.
Well, I stand with you on that, and I would like to say the military too should continue with the investigation. It shouldn't just stop here. Maybe there is more to it, and maybe there are more people.
Sure.
And maybe, just maybe, he was at the wrong place at the right place, or wrong place at the wrong time, or whatsoever. But more investigation should be done. I was reading comments, and people were like, hope he's not being used as scapegoat, you know, to show face or whatsoever. But that are just allegations or accusations. But I would like to encourage them for the job well done, and more investigation too should be carried out. Maybe there are more people or whatsoever, so that at least we'll know, okay, where it's coming from. And Nigerians should be updated too with the processes. And there are some things that shouldn't come out when more investigations are carried, maybe the processes of how they were attacked or whatsoever. Because, you know, this thing, when the attack happened, one was killed, one was adopted, but returned now. So there are some things that should be covered, or maybe their process, the secret of the base, you know, the route that was followed and so many others. It should remain there. It shouldn't be out to the public, and maybe some other bad people are watching it and planning other things. Yes.
Well, do you have any interest story that you want to say, one or two
No,
things
that's all
before?
for the stories, and I think we've discussed a lot. I just want to appreciate our caller, Mordecai from Kaduna. We really appreciate you for giving your own contribution on the show today. It shows that you are watching us, and it shows that you have interest in what we do. Why don't you join us more on other programs that will be coming your way? And to our supporters too, we are appreciative of your finances that you send to us. Is what we use in promoting and promoting the gospel of Christ, and even informing the general public. We appreciate you, and for those watching on Facebook and YouTube, we also appreciate you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your calls. We love you. And my name is Joyce. I've been doing this with Sambu.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Do unto others what you want them to do unto you. Thank you, and join us on our other programs that are coming.